Go
Is
ahead.
that the button?
Press the
Was
button.
that the right one?
Yeah, you got it. Recording.
We're recording.
We are.
Awesome. What's today? July 6th.
Yep. Number 7.
Podcast number 7, the Jody Mitic podcast. Welcome, listeners. Hang on, my microphone is not tight.
Got to call the tech department.
Hey, tech department, get
Yes?
over here.
Yes. What would you like, sir?
As usual, we are at Greco Orleans in the lovely city of Ottawa, one of the nicest gyms I've ever been in, to be honest. Not a lot of equipment, though. We've talked about that.
Don't need it.
Mostly dumbbells and inflated bouncy thingies that you will probably hurt yourself on if you're not having good instruction.
And blood, sweat, and tears.
And just a lot of blood,
Hard
sweat,
work.
and just serious tears.
That's right.
Like, there's a lot of. I feel the sadness in here.
Oh, yeah. We snatch souls in here daily.
Soul snatching, all happening on a daily.
That's right.
Of course, we're drinking some Firehouse coffee. Fire. Okay, let me start that again. Firehouse coffee roasters. Fire Haus. Like Zajamans. Have they got a website yet?
There's no website.
Is there any
Facebook
plan
page.
for? Yeah,
Facebook
but is there
page.
any plan for a website? Is
I
my
don't
man
know.
gonna come through and help me sell his coffee, or at least let me buy it?
We got a tweet from someone
Yeah.
who listens to the show saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, I put together this website and I
Oh,
and I sent
yeah.
it off to him,
And?
so it's in his hands now. I don't know.
So Firehouse coffee is delicious. I went through. What'd you drop off at my house on Canada Day?
I think it's a 2-pound bag.
About a 2-pound bag
Oh,
of
yeah.
espresso beans. And what's today? The 6th. They were gone like 2 days ago.
Gobbled.
Oh man, yeah. I drink a lot of coffee. It's
so
fun.
Good,
Well,
though.
I've been stuck in the house with my staph infection.
That's right. That's right.
But anyway, let's finish up Firehouse. It's a local first responder. He's a fireman. Probably where he got the name. Very clever.
Yeah.
And, he does this at home, and he's trying to support his family, so we're trying to support him. So enjoy some Firehouse coffee on Facebook. Go to Facebook. Facebook page is Firehouse Coffee Roasters. It's Fire, Haus. And that's about enough of that. I don't know. I feel like he has to get a website.
Well, yeah, it would probably help, but it's delicious black drink.
So am I
Love
being
it.
rude? We have 2 people here, and I haven't introduced them yet.
Go ahead and introduce them.
Why don't you guys introduce yourselves? We got a 3rd microphone here. Don't get all feisty and start telling us your life story, but just introduce yourselves real quick.
I'm Veronique Bergeron, and I'm a mother of 9. I've known Jody for a couple
I think
of
like
years.
4 years now.
Yeah,
actually,
something like that. Yeah, I think I only had 8 kids when we met.
You might have only had 7, actually.
You think? No, because I went from 6 to 8 because we had twins.
Yeah, you might have had 6 then.
You think? Oh,
How old are your twins?
4.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you had
yeah,
6
yeah,
kids.
you think,
That's
yeah.
it. You had 6 kids when we met because you
Really?
were a book at the
At the Human Library.
Ottawa Human
where
Library
we
book
met,
thing
yeah.
with CBC, and you were the woman with 6 kids,
There you go.
and then you
So
went off and
it's,
had twins. And
that's
didn't one of
right.
your kids have a kid?
Oh, no.
But
my,
no,
my
one-
oldest 20.
But he just joined the army.
No, well, I've got 2 kids in the Army. The oldest is 20. She's in the Army Reserves, and she's a student at Ottawa U. And then the second oldest is 19. He's been in the Reserves since he was 16, but now he switched to regular, and he's at RMC in Kingston.
Sounds like a fine couple of young Canadians.
That's right. So there's one in a ditch in Gagetown currently, and one in a ditch in Valcartier currently.
Yeah, that Human Library thing was actually pretty cool. If you guys can check it out, it's Ottawa Public Library and CBC collaborating, and you're a live book. So people signed us out for half an hour at a time or something.
Something like that,
and,
yeah.
And me and you
Yeah.
and a couple of others have
Yeah.
stuck around and hung out. And
That's right.
there's you and do you remember Mark Cleroux,
Yes, I do. Was
The-
he the tattoo artist?
the tattoo
Yeah, he was.
ex-white supremacist gangster?
Ex-gang
Ex-convict?
member. Yeah.
Yeah.
ex-gang member,
Yeah, I still hang out with him. He's very, very interesting.
Did he do one of your tattoos?
He's done most of my new ones, yeah. He's even redone a few
oh, that's great.
of the old ones to make them a little more professional looking.
Good
And we're
stuff.
going to finish this left arm eventually into a sleeve, and I finally figured out how I think I can do it. Because the bottom is mostly Afghanistan related, as in dates, the date I was blown up, Poppy for my fallen buddies. I got Medusa here for when we did Op Medusa. So I'm thinking the sky and mountains of Afghanistan on my forearm.
Oh, that would be nice. That
And
would
the
be
upper
nice.
arm is mostly, it's like the sniper logo and my regimental cipher and a few other things I want to add. So I'll put like the Canadian flag,
Ooh.
right?
Yeah.
I like
the
it.
red.
I like it.
Get the maple leaf in the background. I think it's going to be pretty dope. So then I'll have a sleeve.
That's good.
Young man, why don't you come forward and introduce yourself real quick?
Yeah, I'm Matthew Hull. I'm a warrant officer in the Canadian Armed Forces.
Yeah. Matt reached out on, do you remember?
I think it was Instagram.
Probably Instagram.
Yeah.
It's a blur to me. Talk right into the microphone. Like, right, make love to it.
Yeah, I
Get
think it
right
was.
up, get deep.
I think it was Instagram, possibly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming, guys. We'll carry on real quick with this with stuff, and I feel like I want everyone's perspective on the one thing that I got to talk about tonight. It's kind of weird though because we're all white, so we might not be allowed to talk about it, but we're gonna talk about it anyway.
Yeah, let's just do it anyway.
Okay, so thanks a lot, guys. It's awesome. All right, so what do you got here? I want to talk about. Let's start. Okay, what was I talking about? My staph infection. So, have you noticed anything about my T-shirt?
I've noticed that it's awesome.
Well, yes, it has Mr. Neil deGrasse Tyson
Neil
on it,
deGrasse,
one of my
yes.
favorite people in the whole world. But have you noticed anything else?
Is it super snug against your bulging muscles?
No, it's not actually, and
what?
that's the problem.
What?
I was looking pretty dapper, and like every picture we were putting up before, it was, hey man, looking buff, looking cut, looking lean, and then I got this staph infection,
Yeah.
and I have been laid up for. It's got to be going on 10 days.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
At least 10 days.
Yeah, I was on pretty strong antibiotics. So I went out for an event, whatever day it was. Came home. It was Friday night. Got home a little bit later than I'd planned, around midnight or so, maybe 1. And went to bed. Woke up, and my leg when I went to bed felt like I'd overdone it for the day, and that was it. And then when I woke up in the morning, it was like twice as big as it should be. But with staph, usually you can't even like touch it. So I was like, oh, okay, well maybe it's literally like a sprained stump, which I've never had before. But anyway, so then chilled at home. So I was supposed to go to Brockville for a charity shoot for the charity Soldier On.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Yeah.
week.
Oh,
yeah.
My buddies at Tier Tactical, the hat that I always wear, they gave me a bunch of sweet gear to wear. I got a rifle from Colt Canada from my buddy there to try out. I zeroed it, went, practiced. I had my SIGs, the famous pistols I tweeted and the Ottawa Sun decided to write about, and had all this ammo donated to me by my friends and everybody. So everybody, big expectations. So Jody's on the couch,
Yep.
instead of being in Brockville, and one of my buddies is a retired sniper, went down, and he won. Actually, he won a prize. But so anyway, the girls in Atlanta are gone because they thought I was gonna be gone for the day anyway.
That's
so
right,
they're off
that's right.
like in the West End at someone's birthday party, hanging out, having fun. So it's just me and the dogs just chilling at the house. And the leg, I was like, okay, I put some ice on it, hung out, and it wasn't like. So Atlanta calls around noon or so, and it says,
because like you took us up to the part where you went to the hospital and all that stuff. We went that last week.
Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
Well, I apologize.
It's the antibiotics. They've
It's
gotten to your
Groundhog
brain.
Day.
They've
Dude,
gotten to your brain.
I spent a lot of time at home. I went cabin crazy. No, what do you call that? Cabin fever.
cabin fever. Yeah,
Yeah, but so anyway, the antibiotics just destroyed me.
they're nasty. They're
Like,
nasty.
I had no appetite. My guts feel terrible. I was drinking kombucha. Like, I take a swig of kombucha every morning anyway. So now I'm like taking like triple, like every. So I would take one in the morning. I took one around lunch. I'd take one at night. I'd take one before bed.
Yep.
Not enough. It's not enough. Doesn't help at all. Haven't been to the gym.
Yeah.
Just don't have the energy.
Right.
Called Nick, chatted with him, and he was just like, well, once you're better, I guess we're just going to have to double down.
Yep. For
I
sure.
like the attitude.
Yeah.
And but not eating a lot, I've noticed I'm actually a lot leaner.
Right. That'll do it.
But I've lost a lot of muscle mass like that. Like it's so fast.
Yeah. Well, I think that you'll find that like once you start using your body more again, that it'll pop back pretty quick too.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. So enough about that. What do you want to talk about now?
Did you know that most bears are right-handed?
Wouldn't it really be southpaw?
I like that response bit better, but this is according to my main man, Rick Nelson.
Is he the bear puncher?
He's the bear puncher.
You're okay if I swear, right? Oh wait, we haven't sworn yet.
That's right.
Okay, we're trying. So you guys, so you know, for context, have you listened to all the podcasts? So you know we're trying to do a show without swearing. This could be it, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Because I want to say BAMF.
Right.
And I can't say what that stands for without swearing.
Yeah.
Is ass considered swearing?
Ooh, not in my book.
Are we borderline?
Could be.
Well, you're a mother of 9.
Yeah.
You guys are pretty religious too, right? Sorry. You guys come in on the conversation.
Yeah, we're religious, but swearing's not
Swearing's okay in
well,
your
not
house?
Church swears, but
Not at church, though.
no.
Okay,
Not-
so
not
it's like
well,
grandma's
we're-
house rules.
Okay, so we're French, right? So you know in French they have church swears. They're religious objects. That's the
Right,
swear.
okay,
The
I
swear,
follow you.
The
I
swear
follow you.
word.
Right,
Yeah.
the tabernacle.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So those are the church swears.
coalice.
Yeah, that's right.
No, what's that in English though? The coalice. What is
Right,
that?
yeah,
What is
I-
The
that?
chalice.
I
The
know it's-
chalice.
That's
That's
right.
it.
Yeah. So that's what they say. But now, okay, so we have little kids.
You
we have-
donation bin.
There you go.
How dare you, sir? Take that back immediately.
So we have little kids and we have big kids who are in the
Yeah.
army, right? So, you know.
Touche. And your husband served for 30 years.
Well,
didn't
yeah.
he?
So we kind of know all the 4-letter words.
All right.
Right.
Well, anyway.
Yeah. I just hope I'm not the one to drop the first one on this podcast. you
Well, I
know?
said ass,
Well, yeah.
but BAMF stands for badass motherfucker.
Yeah, we know
So I just
that.
said it. There we
There
go.
you go.
Just-
It's all over.
Wasn't me.
well, you can't not use that description for a guy who basically gets in a pokey chest shoving contest with a bear, punches him in the nose, and walks away.
That's right.
That's basically what the article said.
He's awesome.
He's like my new hero.
Yeah.
Like I want to hang out with him so bad.
Yeah,
just
absolutely.
let me be in your presence.
For sure. Let's just go hang
Like,
out.
did you see me? He had like a couple scratches on his face.
A few scratches on his face and like one across his like chest and shoulder, just looking rugged. It was awesome. I said.
But I mean, we are talking black bear though.
Yeah, we're talking black bear, but it's still like 300 pounds,
Yeah, they get big.
which isn't like a 300-pound human. It's going to be like double a 300-pound human in the terms of like strength and things like that.
And he comes equipped with like a handful of knives.
Yeah, exactly.
And big ass, and he can kill you with his face.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah, exactly. He's like he didn't get his face bitten off,
I just gotta wonder, like,
but they do eat ass.
well, where was he?
He was near Sudbury. It was like a smaller
Yeah.
district around
I
Sudbury. He
remember-
was out walking his dog.
I bought my first house in 01 or 02 in Chalk River, right? And I remember they banned the bear. Were you ever in Pet?
No, only
No.
for exercises.
Right. So they banned the bear hunt in Ontario in like 1999, 2000. And on base, suddenly we just had bears everywhere. Because black bears have like 2 to 4 cubs at a time, I think.
Right. Okay.
And so if half of them survive, like you're doubling the population, and if you're not shooting them, right? So, like we had them walking through our yard on base. We like suddenly you couldn't go out on exercise without
No way.
like a bear just appearing in your OP.
Right.
Like, hey, what's up? Got some food? And you like couldn't leave anything laying around anymore. So they were just everywhere. So, I'm pretty sure they haven't reinstated it yet. And like everyone who has to deal with the bears is like, can we please start shooting some of them to get them
Right,
out
yeah.
of our, like our yard?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Everyone has to walk around with those.
But
huge
they're very
bear suits.
bold though.
Yeah, apparently. Well, especially if they start to find like a source of food, like in people's garbage or whatever it is, right?
I'm gonna
That
take my mic off the
that,
stand.
that if that's the easier way, then they're just into it and they'll do it and they'll keep showing up
Yeah,
until
but-
there's a reason not to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is like I'm wondering if this bear from like when he was a cub was just around humans, like
Right.
not like necessarily palling around with them, but knew that they were around and wasn't like intimidated by them.
Yeah. Well,
But had never really gone face to face with one, so didn't really know what to expect.
yeah, it probably didn't know what to expect, but also it was reacting because the cub was nearby. So
Well, this is a mama bear.
yeah, so
No, it's not.
Yep.
He punched mama bear and survived.
Mama bear in the face. Yeah.
No, wait, no.
So he sat down. He was taking
This
a
man
walk
needs
with
his own
his
t-shirt.
dog. Yeah, he should have at least have one by now. He was walking
Speaking
his
of
dog.
T-shirts, sorry to interrupt you again.
Go on.
You have 100% of the last month I've seen you been
Yeah.
wearing Fighter and the Kid T-shirts.
Yes, please. Thank
100%
you.
of the
Yes,
time.
please. Thank you. Send me more shirts. Yes, please. Thank you. Brendan Shop. Send me more
Are you
shirts.
trying to get sponsored by them, or?
Maybe I already am. I've cut you out of that deal, but
Hey, that's cool, man. Hey,
no,
hey.
I'm throwing out the rest of my clothes. If it's not Fighter and Kid, I don't want it. Get it out of here. This is so soft. So soft.
I want to touch you now, but I'm not gonna
Do
because we
it.
have company.
Okay,
So,
go on,
okay, so he's out walking. He comes
Yeah.
across baby bear or mama bear.
He sits down on a log for a rest. It's hot out. He's 61 years old. He's just being leisurely, right? He sits down on the log, and the cub pokes its nose out from the bush that is right beside him. He said he could literally reach out and touch the cub. The cub didn't realize he was there. Gets startled, yells out, "Arr!" Calls Mama over. He starts to hear Mom crashing through the bush. And he is a bear hunter, or he was a bear hunter, so he knows I'm in some trouble here.
But he also knows their behavior.
Yes.
So it's not like he's never seen a bear before.
And he's a boxer. He trained boxing. So
I love
Mama
this
Bear
guy.
just rears up on the hind legs, and he says, most bears are right-handed, so I knew a left was coming first, and that one was going to be weak. But then the thunder was coming with that right paw. So he like cruised through the storm on that, popped the bear right in the snout, and apparently that's the only like sensitive enough spot that's going to startle them. And the bear shouted, "Bah!" And then that scared the cub, so the cub took off. And then the mother bear decided to leave him alone and just go follow the cub. Made it.
Oh my gosh.
Walked back home. No problem.
The fact that he had punched a bear was enough for me, and I carried on with my day.
Yeah.
I did not realize it was that badass.
Oh yeah. Super
I knew most bears are right-handed, so I weathered the storm, the punches and bunches, and then just
That's
waited
right.
for my moment.
Boom, uppercut. Shutsies.
Just murked her right in the nose.
First round. That's it. You're done.
Man.
Yeah.
We,
I
this is
heard
what
he
we
might
need.
be
We need a
at
T-shirt.
UFC
So
200.
we need a T-shirt like the old-timey boxer guy.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
this. And then one of the bear in the same stance.
For sure.
And then we'll have like baby bear in the background, like jumping up and down or something.
Yeah, it's perfect.
And it'll be like rumble in the what's
Sudbury?
Sudbury called? The big nickel? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, what's it called?
Big nickel.
Oh, we'll have the big nickel in the background.
That's
Get on
beauty.
that.
Yeah, we gotta make this shirt.
Oh, actually, I do have a
immediately.
T-shirt company that we can do that with.
You've got a guy?
Ex-Navy SEAL, apparently.
Okay.
But there's all these ex-Navy SEALs doing all this awesome entrepreneurial stuff.
Let's do it. Let's get these shirts rolling.
Yeah, Jocko hooked us up with them, and I forgot to tell you.
Okay. Thanks.
So
Appreciate
this
that.
could be the first. Well, hang on. I guess we need his permission.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do
Okay,
it.
Let's work on that. So, Jody Mitic podcast listeners, we are gonna try and get the. I don't know what's his name again.
His name is Rick Nelson.
Rick the Hammer Nelson versus Mama Bear.
Yeah.
fight of the century.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome.
So good.
Okay, so listen, I got some like serious stuff I think is going to take up a lot of our time.
Yeah, we can get right to it right now if you want.
Yeah, everything. You guys cool if we go deep? You guys are just here to watch, and I know. Yeah. No, you're allowed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so like I had alluded to, we're all white, so this might be an inappropriate conversation, but I feel like it has
When
to
has
be.
that ever stopped you?
Never.
Yeah, there you
actually.
go.
Yeah,
100%
I know.
of the
It
time.
should. At some point, I'll realize I'm a politician.
Nah.
So I have zero issue with Black Lives Matter as an organization. hey man, we were, it's there's no, it's not like it's a secret that there's racism in the world and that black people have borne a large amount of it in the North American hemisphere. And and I feel like this is just my observation. There's a lot of the issues that they deal with are more American than Canadian. But anyway, I didn't grow up black, so I don't know. I know that, we had our issues with the Irish. We're still having our issues with our Aboriginals. When my dad came over, he was half German, half Serbian, so they looked at his family like Nazis and communists, right after World War II, so not necessarily the best thing. But I grew up. The first time I honestly experienced racism was when one of the Indian kids at school called me a stupid white boy.
Right. Okay.
I was like, what? When we got to high school, I was like, wait
a minute.
All my brown friends are like mad at me for something, and I didn't do anything. Yeah. And then that's when you start to learn a little bit of history and blah blah blah. Whatever. Yep. 20 years ago, no big deal. Young men all look for conflict in any place they can find it. It's part of growing up. So we, on the weekend was Pride Toronto.
Correct.
I think the oldest Pride parade or the biggest Pride parade?
It's been going on since 1973, so it's probably
Is it the oldest or is it the biggest?
I don't know if it's the oldest, but...
I know San Francisco has a pretty gnarly Pride parade scene.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to talk to my friends that are in the gay community, I guess, for a little bit of that history, but... So I guess Black Lives Matter Toronto was given the honorary status or the honored group. So they were one of the first processions of the parade.
Right.
And they decided to use that opportunity because I've been to Pride Toronto. It's awesome. I've done the one here in Ottawa 3 times now. It's a great party. Lots of fun. Everybody's just out to enjoy themselves. I had, awesome.
Yeah.
Never felt uncomfortable. Never had an issue. Everybody's just having fun. Everybody's just being nice. So they decided to take that position and use it to get some points across.
Right.
By staging a sit-in at the beginning of the parade until they had a list of demands that were met.
Right.
Protest is fine. It's part of democracy. I have zero issue with it. Is it the right venue? In my opinion, no, but whatever. I'm not their group, and that's fine. I wasn't there, so it's not like I was standing around waiting to see the parade. So even that is a null and void argument to me. A lot of the people that I know that were there were like, whatever, man. It was half an hour.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Yep.
And then I read the list of demands, and I took a screenshot of it, and I'll pull it out real quick because I want to read this to people. And I know a lot of our listeners are American and Australian and British, and they may or may not be aware of this, which is fine. But we all have issues wherever we're from, and I'm a huge fan of dialogue. That's why I love politics and democracy. Matt and I come from the side, what do they call war? Politics through other means? No. Not politics. The politics of last resort? You never heard that?
No, it sounds right, though. So.
Yeah, I forget. Napoleon probably coined it or somebody like that. And basically, it's when all else fails, you go to war.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we live in a democracy. We live in one of the strongest democracies in the world. We're number 2, I think, for quality of life. And you want to know why we were 2, by the way? I know this is a little bit side rant. You want to know why we were number 2 for quality of life in the world? Check this out. Check it out. No, because Finland beat us. They got winter all the it gets dark for 3 months of the year there. I think it's because not enough of us subscribe to cell phones.
Huh?
Because it's too expensive?
Well, this is the thing. You can't Finland would fit in this room. It's not that hard to give everyone a cell phone tower in Finland. In Canada, we have 30 million people spread out over like a humongous geography.
That's right.
And also, you know what else we have here? We have 120-year-old infrastructure that still works. It's called a landline.
Right. Yeah.
So
wait.
Why?
What's a landline? What do you mean?
What? I haven't had one since 2005. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But every house still comes with one.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want it, they still put a phone line into your house.
Yeah.
Even if you never activate it, it's there. But, a lot of countries that, are developing are like just skipping the whole analog phase and skipping right to digital.
Yep.
The developing world is full of cell phones, because you can build a couple towers and everyone can have a phone, or we can lay a piece of copper to every single house and spend billions.
Yeah.
Nah. But anyway, we have this piece of infrastructure that's in place and works in storms and blah, blah, blah. But the point is, how do we lose? Because you can't compare Finland's cell phone to us. I don't know. I think that's like such a lame category to lose like 2.2 of a point and come in second. And I'm like, we're first. I was like walking around for a day with my arms up. Yo, we're number one.
Winner.
Yeah. So anyway, back to Black Lives Matter.
Okay, so you're going through.
They got a list of demands here that they put together, and as they say, a lot of this is like inside baseball to us. I think even to anyone who's not part of Pride Toronto, it's. So I'll read it. There's 9. Commit to BQY, Black Queer Youth, continued space, including stages / tents, funding and logistical support. Obviously, that's something that is going on between those groups. Self-determination for all community spaces, allowing community full control over hiring, content, and structure of their stages. Again, something obviously that they're dealing with inside their group. Full and adequate funding for community stages, including logistical, technical, and personal support. Again, nothing to the average person. Number 4, double funding for Black Orama plus ASL interpretation and headliner funding. Okay, man, cool. Number 5, reinstate and make a commitment to increase community stages / spaces, including the reinstatement of the South Asian stage. Cool. A commitment to increase representation amongst Pride Toronto staffing / hiring, prioritizing Black trans women, Black queer people, Indigenous folk, and others from vulnerable communities. Okay. Again, it's okay.
Yeah.
Seems reasonable, I guess. I'm not down there. I don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know what communications are going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
A commitment for more Black, deaf, and hiring ASL interpreters for the festival. Again, whatever. Here's where I hit all stop, do not pass go. I will never agree to this one. But their thing was agree to all our demands or we're not moving. And the parade goes nowhere.
Yeah.
So as the Pride director, who's got one of the biggest parades in the world, the Prime Minister is there, the Mayor is there, most of the MPs that can make it are there. I think 1 million people come in from out of town or something crazy like that.
I'm not sure,
hundreds of thousands of people show up in Toronto
event
for this event. It's a massive event. Remove number 8, removal of police floats / booths in all Pride marches / parades / community spaces. Number 9, a public town hall organized in conjunction with groups from marginalized communities, including but not limited to Black Lives Matter, Toronto, Blackness Yes. Sorry, that sounds like a band. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying that. And BQY to be held 6 months from today. Pride Toronto will present an update and action plan on the aforementioned demands. Hey, there's 9. 8 out of the 9 are cool, man. Doesn't seem unreasonable. Doesn't seem. It's a little. It's a bit of a dictation if you're making a demand. It's one thing to request negotiation and do some what do they call it? Not arbitration. like most
Like having discussions.
contracts are
Negotiations,
negotiations, right?
yes,
So, but
yes.
these are demands. So basically, hire more black people. I don't know what the demographics are, so maybe it's warranted, maybe it's not. I don't want to get into that. And I have no issue with them trying to represent. Absolutely zero issue with Black Lives Matter. Again, as an organization, getting attention to their cause.
Yeah.
That's why I love democracy, because we allow free protest, open protest. Even the whole get a permit for a protest thing bugs me.
Right.
I'm like, huh?
Right.
It's public space, so if you want to, as long as you're not hindering anyone or hurting anyone or threatening anyone,
Yep.
or causing damage to anything, I see no issue with protest.
Right.
We had Black Lives Matter Ottawa, and if anybody listening to this is part of that group or knows anyone in that group, have them tweet me or Instagram me or Facebook me. Love to talk to them. I think they're mostly at the U of O. They just barged into City Hall one day and
Right.
I guess planned to charge into council and make their noise and stuff, and they had a list of demands.
Yep.
They never made it. They were intercepted by security and a few other things, and I was trying to do my job, so I was happy that they didn't make it all the way down, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop them from
Sure.
trying to deliver their message, right?
Yep.
I'm happy we put on the uniform, your husband wore the uniform. That's what we went out to do, to defend and represent the rights of Canadians. And the part of our rights is our ability to say things and criticize government officials, power, without fear of persecution, right? But where I draw a hard line,
Ooh, hard
and I
line.
will never, and this is why I'm bringing this up, because on my Facebook, my personal Facebook page, not my fan page, I didn't post anything. This because this is a personal view of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Part of their approach, and I get it, it's a tool that they can use, is basically you agree with us or you're a racist. To that extent. Again, we're all white, so maybe we're not getting it, which is fine. Go ahead. I mean, it's a negotiating tactic. It's not a big deal. But when you demand that the police be excluded, the police are, regardless. Again, I didn't grow up black, but I grew up as a teenager in Peel Region, driving my dad's car, getting pulled over and shaken down because what's a 17-year-old doing in a Jeep Grand Cherokee?
Right.
Where's the drugs, punk?
Yep.
Shut your mouth. Get up against the car. White cops. I'm a blue-eyed white boy, and I'm getting roughed up by because I was a 17-year-old smartass.
Right. Yeah.
So I was getting given the gears. So, but anyway, the point is that I've never been, I don't know, begrudged to the cops is the right word. But even if I was, what is excluding them from the activity do? Anyone?
Yeah, I don't understand it either.
Anyone.
The exclusion of the police, other than I read a handful of articles to try and get some
Yeah, me too,
different
yeah.
perspectives, and the only thing that I gathered from that is they don't have trust in the police, so they don't want to be near them or be associated with them.
Yeah, it and this is what I'm hearing. Even today, people were saying, one of my gay buddies was saying, I'm with Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, that's cool. And I just sent him a message saying, so you're with banning the police? And he's
Right.
like, well, I can see why they might feel uncomfortable. I'm like, dude, I get nervous if I'm on the highway and a cop is behind me.
Right.
And I know most of the cops in Ottawa.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm still worried about getting pulled over.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like we all are feeling just fine if the cops are around. Like, the cops are there to keep, what do we call them? The thin blue line.
Yeah.
And tradition, back in the day, and when the Pride Parade did start, it was a protest against laws that discriminated against gays and police action where they would go out and I guess they had a weekend where they just went through all the known gay clubs and all that and arrested people and busted heads and burned shit down. And I do not agree with that one at all. But that was then.
Yeah.
Pride has developed into one of the greatest, most fun parties of inclusion
and diversity and everything, and to suddenly just say, you know what, we don't want these people here. Never mind that they're cops.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of them are gay, a lot of them are black, and a lot of them are great. 99.9% of them are amazing Canadians.
Right.
And now we're going to say we don't want them there.
Yeah, I think it was funny because funny, not haha, but on Facebook, when several of your friends share the same link, you'll see like the link once and then all the stacked friends. And so my friends who are in the gay community would post an article and then it'd be like, yay, yay, yay. And then Jody, eye roll, so.
It was, my eye roll was that everyone was just and this happens. This is what social media does, right? Most people read the headline and they don't read any further. And I'm guilty of it sometimes too. Like the bear puncher. I didn't read the whole story.
Right.
I was just so blown away by punching a bear and walking away to tell the story.
Yeah.
That's all I need to know about that guy.
For sure.
Today we had in Louisiana, they shot that guy. If you've seen the video, I saw the video. It's terrible. Point blank. Boom, dead. The guy dies right there on camera, and you can watch him die. Like he's bleeding out, and you can see. Anyway, so these things are all in the Black Lives Matter movement. These things are all connected, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm just my thing with the eye roll and some of the stance that I take sometimes with this stuff is that read into it a little bit. Again, 8 out of the 9 things I have zero issue with. 7 out of those 8 things, I'm not even sure what they're talking about. Yeah. So I have zero ability to jump in or have an opinion. I'm not gay. I'm not on the gay pride community committee or whatever they use to organize the thing. For me, it's, wait, what's this?
But
ban
I think
the cops.
Yeah, I think where you stop is that people have been campaigning and for inclusion for years, like decades,
since the parade started, and
are now excluding people.
They're then turning around, and okay, you can say, so for me, like, I know they're harsh words, but I'm like, so, I put up one article and I was like, diversity through division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
How can you expect the police to understand or get better relations or whatever the problem is? How does that achieved if they're not included?
Yeah. What I found, there were 2 things that I found interesting from reading with my friends have shared with me is that I think they really like the idea of activism getting results, right? I think we've all grown a little bit cynical about, I worked for a politician for a long time. If you sent your petition through email to my boss, chances are he never saw it, right?
Right.
So,
well, in fairness, we get a lot of petitions emailed to us.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And a lot of them have actually nothing to do with anything we actually have ability to do with.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I worked for a federal politician. We'd get stuff about snow removal. It's like next, right? So anyway, so I think a lot of people in the
snow removal.
Yeah, that's right.
Sorry, I just flashed back to my day.
Did you get a flashback? Yeah.
We spent 6 hours debating a theoretical inch of snow.
Yeah.
Today at committee. I'm on transportation committee, and we thought about maybe going to 10 centimeters for snow removal. And even I'm like, what are you, crazy? I got to drive to buy milk. Like,
right.
I get it. We'll save some money, but I got to literally drive to buy milk.
Yeah.
And now you want to wait till 7 cents. Their counter is that then they can increase the speed at which the trucks will react to the snow, because now it's, they're able. I don't know. But they didn't communicate that properly even to me, and I'm on the committee. Right. So, and the savings, it was only like $1 million saved, and $500,000 of it would go back into snow removal.
Right.
I'm like, that's the only savings? Seems like we should save more.
Right.
But anyway.
So I think a lot of people in the LGBTQ community were happy to see activism getting results, and they were happy to be the ones giving those results.
Yes.
Like, look, they've asked, we've given it to them. Right. But I think, my impression from as an outsider, obviously, is that after, like, I'm not sure if the full magnitude of what was involved in getting rid of the police floats, like, You know, I'm not sure if that sort of sunk in at the time when they're just waiting to start the parade.
Yeah, I'm wondering. Like, I don't know if you know me, you know that the word safe space makes me laugh. Don't say white privilege in my space,
Special snowflake?
in my personal space, because then I'll need a safe space to calm down.
Yeah.
We live in Canada. It's 2016. And it seems like we're becoming more and more and more sensitive to the fact that we have differences.
But I think people are getting incensed about offending other people. Like, you know, it's about,
people want to be offended.
But what I mean is that, you know, I'm concerned about black people getting offended. Like, I'm not concerned about me getting offended, but I'm going to be concerned about other people getting offended.
The online armies of each of these groups, right? They call themselves social justice warriors. I call them social justice fascists. Basically, to them, it's just like with this sit-in. It's meet our demands or nothing. Like, there's no middle ground, and that's fine. Like I said, the guy went out. He signed the sheet. Like, what's he gonna do? He has 10,000 people in a parade. He has to get moving.
He's got to sign it.
And he even said later, he's like, "Look, I just signed the thing so they'd get out of the way, and keep moving." And Black Lives Matter, I followed them on Twitter. I'm fascinated by them now. Let's be honest, their action got us all talking about this.
Absolutely.
And again, I have zero issue with them using that extreme tactic to get their message and their points of contention on the map, which is now going to be debated. Like, signing the thing to meet the demands, the guy can say, you know, no court in the world would hold it up, right? Like, even the community itself, once they sit down and everyone calms down, will probably say, look, we get it, you guys had your point, but now we're going to debate it. We're not just going to give you whatever you want because you held up the parade.
Well, he even said that like, it's not going to be up to him, right? Like,
well, it's the whole committee.
Yeah, it's not his choice.
Or whatever they call themselves.
He said that it's going to be up to the whole community. To determine like how they're going forward with all of these things, with the police ban being the thing that's in the front.
Right. So, but how? So okay. So anyway, my whole thing to everyone that I've been trying to, because you know, Facebook is a terrible place to debate anything.
Oh yeah.
Twitter. You know, I told a guy off on Twitter today about I reduced the speed on a road in my ward from 50 to 40. And he turned into a bit of a smart ass on Twitter, and I was just like, okay, man, whatever. Like, I don't have time. Like, I'm not going to debate you on Twitter. You know, I was like, if you're going to insult me, be a gentleman and use a meme. Use a meme like the rest of us in the civilized world.
Absolutely.
You know, because as much as I try to, like, be a smart ass, I also want to be, you know, just like, it's fun. It's social media. It's social, right?
Yeah.
But my sticking point, again, is this whole ban the cops thing, and I can't get my head around it. And I guess the point I was getting at is this a part of the whole, mostly in university, safe space thing, like don't do anything to make someone uncomfortable no matter what it is, even if you're uncomfortable by not making them uncomfortable or
it's
not.
at least an offshoot of that to some extent, because if my understanding is correct, like the police float is not the security for the parade, right? It's a float.
But I guess they're in uniform.
Yeah, that's right. So it's
if a cop's in uniform, he or she has to be armed.
Yeah.
So I could see, you know, like I actually read a really good one. It said, well, maybe they could be up there in like polo shirts that say police.
Yeah,
if they're on the float, or they could be in like a, you know, some kind of respectable dress for them, but not on duty.
So they're not, I mean, they're in uniform, but like I said, it's two different groups that will do the policing for the parade, and the group that's on the float, right? Yeah. Like they're not on the float to police the parade.
But to me, again, my all stop is like, you want to ban them. Like, they're not even allowed to do community outreach at this event now.
No,
this is one of the biggest events in the city.
And it took a long time.
And they want them to no, not allowed.
But the police being at Pride is a relatively recent event, right? Like it's what
like you mean participating?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I mean. Like participating.
That's a good point too.
Right?
So,
so
this
took
is where
years to get the police to participate, and now they've knocked them off.
Well, no, they haven't. But that was I don't think it's going to stick.
No, well, I can't see it stick. But
again, we're not going to. I mean, I posted they put out a thing asking for everyone to be at a big meeting in 6 months. Maybe I'll go. I don't know. I might go check it out with my friends that are part of the community, because this is something that, like, I just don't want radical action, regardless of who it is, whether it's Black Lives Matter or, you know, the Ukrainian society or who, like, whatever they are. I just don't want this to turn into meet our demands or that's it.
Yeah. What I found interesting,
and especially against people that swear an oath to protect us.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, some of us have bad experiences with the police.
Yeah.
I've had a few myself. I know people that had bad experiences with soldiers and judged us based on it.
But I think that the point is that, like, you grew up, like, the way you were raised as a white kid from Ontario would be like, the police are the good guy, they're here to protect
Yes,
you. And then you
100%.
get busted when you're 17 and you've done nothing wrong, but, you know, you're a 17-year-old in a Cherokee and whatever, right? Like, so you're like, ooh. But the idea is that the black people...
Or you're arrested for possession of crack.
Well,
Read
you
my
know.
book, Unflinching.
Yeah, that's right.
Printed by Simon & Schuster, available
Correct.
at bookstores everywhere.
Even if
Correct.
you didn't have crack.
Oh, I didn't have it.
I know.
My buddy had it. I
That's
was
right.
guilty by association.
But what I mean is that these kids are raised, instead of being told the police are the good guys,
Well, we
they're
don't-
raised being
well,
told,
hang on.
watch
But
out
now
for
we're
the police,
now we're
right?
assuming.
No, I know. But what I mean is
I
that
don't know.
their perception is different.
I know one of the guys on my sniper team is a Jamaican kid. He didn't grow up like that.
Yeah,
he grew up a little
no.
bit rough, from what I understand. He mostly was in Jamaica, but even in Jamaica, like, they weren't like taught. They were taught, like, you know, you just stay out of the police. Like, don't give the
Yeah.
police a reason to look at you.
Because in the States, I was reading an article a while ago about, in the States, like, the talk with black kids is not about sex, it's about the police,
Right.
right? Like,
Don't get shot.
Yeah, that's right.
by the
How old
police.
are
In
you
the
until...
States, though.
Yeah, in the
That's
States.
a real
yeah.
issue in the States. Like,
Yeah.
look, I get it. Even the guy today, people are already posting his rap sheet about how many times he's been arrested and for what. Whatever, man. I watched the video. I'm not going to judge the cops because I wasn't there, but, man, they straight up pinned the guy down and shot him.
Scary.
Apparently, he had a gun in his hand, or he was reaching for a gun, or they thought he was reaching for a gun. But, like, why are you in a position where you have to be on top of him with your gun in his chest
Right.
in the first place?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, again, I watched some of the video. I didn't watch it all, and I watched the last 40 seconds where they kill him. But I want to read you guys and our listeners something for context here as well. One of my buddies, Dave, who's a paratrooper, and he's in the RCR, and he's a black dude, and we've been friends for a long, long time. So he was texting me, "Hey, love the podcast. Listen to them all in like a couple days." And so I said, "Hey, man, can I ask?" So I texted him, "Can I ask you a question?" And I texted, "The stuff that Black Lives Matter did at the Gay Pride Parade, does it make sense?" And this is what he tweeted back. It was just a 100% PR stunt. As everything I've read, they were never denied a spot in the parade. They never asked for one in advance. Now, if they did request a parade spot and were denied, this would be a different story. I don't think that was an issue. I think a lot of people that heard about it just assumed that this was part of it. But
Right.
because they were given a spot of honor, I thought, right?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Now, if they... Oh, okay, wait. Now their list of demands. I haven't read them all. However, what the one that stands out that is being prejudiced or counterproductive is to have the police float permanently banned from the parade. This, I think, is wrong. As from what I know, the whole Gay Pride Parade started in the late 60s, 70s time frame when the Toronto police targeted the gay community. And now, after years, he says the wrong has been rectified. I don't know about that. It was a pretty weak apology, but at least it's been acknowledged that it was probably the wrong tactics. To exclude a demographic, i.e. the Toronto PD, is to take things back years and reinforce the separation of the two sides. The Black Lives Matter movement, in my opinion, is racist and closed-minded, similar to the Black Panthers movement of the 1970s. meaning they are only looking at one side of the issue and not the full picture. I'm not saying there has not been wrongdoings by the police, but one has to look at the whole picture and not just the color of someone's skin. Now, the fact that the Prime Minister was... This is a long text, sorry. Now, the fact that the Prime Minister was in attendance at the parade is another issue. Oh, right. Sorry, he's conservative, so he goes on a bit of a rant against the Prime Minister. Basically, he doesn't like that the Canadian flag was made into the Pride flag because, you know, we wear the flag on our uniform, and so this flag is pretty sacred to us.
Yeah, they're two different flags.
I'm kind of over all that stuff. I've been out of the Army long enough, or I've been at least out of, like, active Army stuff long enough, and I've been political long enough to know that, like, there's way better things to get upset about. It's not like they burned the Pride flag that was like the Canadian flag and the Pride colors. Like, nobody burned it. But even, like, burning the flag is... Yeah, I don't like it, and I don't agree. And somebody did it in Kingston over the weekend, some Aboriginal protesters, from what I understand. But, man, if you look at it from their point of view, I mean, Aboriginal Canadians have had a pretty rough go.
For sure.
And they feel pretty oppressed.
Yep.
I don't know. Anyway, so that's from a black guy looking at it. You know, he's got the military mindset, so that slants his view a little bit to that way. And, you know, he acknowledges, I don't agree that Black Lives Matter and Black Panthers are the same. Maybe in the States. I don't know. But even in the States, when the Black Panthers were coming up, they weren't even allowed to vote. Mm-hmm. So what do you think they're going to do?
Right.
They're going to just be like, oh, yeah, thanks, cool. You know, like the last known lynching in the States was in the 60s.
Right. That's incredible. Wow.
You can see pictures of it online. Like, it's not like there wasn't bad stuff going on.
Right.
Totally justifiable if you want to start, you know, violent opposition to how you're being treated. If, you know, you're being lynched in the street and burned on the stake.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go ahead and say that it's an understandable reaction.
Sure.
To what was happening at the time.
Yeah. Totally different.
Well, imagine being you can't vote, but you're being drafted to go fight a war somewhere.
Yeah.
Huh.
No choice. See ya.
Weird, you know. Oh, and then when you volunteer, you're told to go away.
Right.
I don't know. Anyway, that's another discussion.
There's a lot of there's
a whole lot of history here, but it's, you know, as Prime Minister Trudeau said when he was asked, why would you have half your cabinet women when only 30% of your MPs are women? And he went, it's 2015. Mm-hmm. It's 2016. And we're going to go back to the way we did things in the 70s to move forward in 2016.
Doesn't add up.
It just doesn't add up.
Yeah, I was thinking how, you know, during the last federal election, there was this whole thing about science, you know, and making science-based decisions in politics, because, like, the Liberals were putting themselves in opposition to the Conservatives, saying, you know, they made political decisions, but we don't want that. We want decisions based on the best available evidence, right? And
right.
So is there evidence that removing the police participation in Pride going to lessen the prejudice against queer black people? Like,
you know what? You saying that just made me think of something. We've already said that probably everything on that list is going to be now negotiated, debated, and decided upon at this meeting in 6 months, which is, again, I think it's a great idea. That's pretty much democracy, as long as, you know, even we have one of the most democratic, free elections, and even the side, regardless of who loses, always says, well, that was unfair. You know, we should have won, or whatever.
Right.
So of course, if Black Lives Matter doesn't get all of their demands finally when the meeting happens, they're going to say, well, that's unfair, and you guys are being racist, or whatever their arguments are. Regardless, at the end of the day, it's politics. But maybe, oh my gosh, this just occurred to me. Maybe their whole reason for putting that there was, ultimately they know they're not going to get the police banned, or at least they don't expect to actually get it. But we're all asking. I actually asked a dude on one of my Facebook threads that was actually on a buddy of mine. He's my buddy. Oh my gosh, Jeff Adams, the wheelchair para-athlete. Sorry, Jeff. Me and him argue a lot on Facebook, I find. And he's a fascinating dude. Do you remember this guy?
Yeah, like
he was like one of our most winningest para-athlete in the wheelchair. And he got accused of using drugs and all this stuff. And he got put through the ringer.
Right.
Put through the ringer by the system. And that's one of the reasons why we're buddies, because I watched it and we met in the same circles. And I was like, dude, like, because he was found innocent at the end.
Yeah.
And it was just like, that's all it takes, though, is rumor. And
yeah,
court
of
of public opinion.
Yeah.
That's it. You're done. Or even like within your own little community, like him being a para-athlete, the Canadian Paralympic Commission or whatever it's called was like, yeah, you're banned.
Right.
For life. And he's like, but I was found innocent.
It just looks bad.
And they're like, well, whatever, perception, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Anyway, so I said something about, banning police. I'll never accept it. And then he posted an article that compared everything that happened to, like, it was just trying to, like, fluff it off. Like, don't be so upset, everybody. And I'm like, well, no, like, the article's stupid. Because you can't justify the actions of protest by saying, well, it all started as a protest anyway, so why don't we protest today?
Right.
And I've kind of backed off on that a little bit because, like I said, protest is how things really change, whether it's peaceful or violent or, whatever it is. But one of the guys on his page immediately started berating me for, oh, look, the conservative, white, straight, cis has an opinion.
Oh, no way.
And I went, and I thought the guy was just kind of messing with me a bit. Because
Right.
I looked at his profile picture, and he's like a workout dude. He's a gay guy, whatever, like married to some other like dude, big muscle-bound dude. And I'm like, oh, hey, whatever I said, I was just trying to make it into a bit of a debate. And I'm like, what's a cis?
Just a straight guy.
Huh?
Straight guy. Cisgender.
You knew this?
Yeah.
I've never heard this. CIS.
I've never heard that.
So he's
Well, it's
like,
from
so instead of answering
cisgender,
me, he
yeah.
gives me the, why don't you use Google, dummy? Like, and I'm like,
Oh.
okay. So I Google it, and I'm like, you identify as the gender you were born as. And I'm like, oh, this is an insult now? So I go back, and I'm like, okay, well, look, man, like, I'm trying to, like, have a bit of a convo, and yeah, I'm being a bit of a smart aleck. It is Facebook. But, like, and then somebody else jumps in, and, like, because I'm not gay, and because I'm white, and because I'm identified by these guys as, that's what I told him. Like, I'm more a red Tory. And he's like, well, whatever, man, blah, blah, blah. You're just a stupid cis white straight guy, and all. And I'm like, it's okay. Well, like they're just being mean. Like, so
Yes.
so I didn't call anyone a name.
Cis is not supposed to be an insult, though. It's just a fact, right?
I guess, I don't know, but my point is, like, I said I think this article is stupid, and I was attacked for being who I am immediately. It wasn't like, hey, no, it's not a stupid article, and this is why. And I said, no, I think it's a stupid article, and we kind of degraded into, like, name calling, like usually happens.
Yeah,
it
so
was like the first thing they went to was that I'm white, straight, conservative, and I identify as the gender I was born
Yeah.
under.
So you're not allowed to have an opinion because you're
Yeah.
not part of the oppressed groups in question. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that drives me crazy about these online things. And now we're talking about something a little bit different.
Yeah.
But like, and I've been reading all this stuff on Facebook, and I'm trying, and like I was trying to disengage because I spend too much time online as it is when I have other things to do. But it's still happening. Like, a buddy of mine who's a cop and Jeff got into a debate, but now they came back and now they're buddies again.
Right. Yeah.
Because, and I told Jeff too, I was like, because he has this, I love him, but he has this tone online that's very much like, listen, stupid, listen, child. And I told him, like, you're talking to me like I'm a child, because I don't 100% agree with you. I have zero issue with you disagreeing with me. I don't care. Again, 8 out of the 9 things are not an issue to me.
Yep.
Don't care. If you want more stages and more funding, hey, man, like, who doesn't want more space and more money?
Of course.
That's what everybody wants.
Yeah, of course.
But ban the cops is where it's like, Jody will never agree. Sorry, and if it's because I'm a white conservative, card-carrying liberal, well, I was. It's expired, but... you know, I'm the guy who wants weed legal but guns too, right? Like, you know, like, I'm wicked open-minded.
Yeah.
But to immediately just go and say that to me, and then that's where the debate ends.
Yeah.
And then to say all these things, like, and these are mostly white people yelling at me too.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I was saying earlier. Like, we're offended on behalf of other people. We're not offended for ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, like, people get super offended. Like, oh, you're not even gay, and you're not even black, and you're getting mad at me for being against banning the cops.
Yeah.
I never said anything about Black Lives Matter being bad. Again, some people don't like them. Some people love them. I'm like, kind of like, well, they're just another political group to me. And I grew up in a union house, and hey, man, sometimes you got to get a little extreme to get your point across.
Right.
Though the workers sometimes will go a little crazy to get what they need or do what they think they have to do to get their point across. I have zero issue with that, but it'd be the same thing. We want, you know, a 15-minute break, you know, after 4 hours of work. Yeah, okay, reasonable. We want new equipment for this part of the line so we don't have to, you know, endanger our joints so much. It seems reasonable. Like, we want a tripling in our pay. Whoa.
Hang on here.
Hang on. What? That one's a no go, right?
Yeah.
Like, no company's going to agree to that ever. But, you know, what you were saying earlier, again, maybe that was just thrown in there to get the debate so wound up that some kind of change that they feel is required is at least discussed.
Well, it got people's attention, that's for sure.
Because the same dude that was insulting me, we finally figured out a way to talk to each other without being dicks to each other. But he said, you know, they don't want the cops there because of the discrimination towards the gay community. And I was like, whoa. Okay, up to that point, I thought this was a black thing.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, wait a minute. You've been discriminated against as a gay guy?
Well, in the past, historically speaking, right?
But it's 2016.
Yeah, I know, but...
I get it. The history is for context.
But we're trying to change
If it's repeating itself, sure. Like, if they raided a bathhouse or a gay club or arrested people for being gay, then you can go back to 1972 and say it's happening again.
Yeah.
You know? But I'm like, but is this true? What if it's true? What if people are being targeted just for being gay?
Well, I've
can't never even considered that.
Yeah, I can't speak for that, but from what I've read, it's mostly like trans black women. Like, those are still discriminated against. Like, if a crime is committed,
because they're black or because they're trans?
Both. Apparently, that puts them in the special class of oppressed, right? In a subclass of oppressed. And so, if a crime is committed against a trans black woman, the police will be like, yeah. You know,
like she deserved it.
Yeah, or she wasn't. They don't investigate crimes. They don't take it seriously. I think that's part of their concern or their.
That's super valid, though.
So I think particularly
if that's an actual issue.
Yeah. So more than just like if you're just black or if you're just trans.
So a white transsexual.
Yeah.
Would not be part of the problem. Like they're not as.
A lot of people would argue that white transsexual are kind of like just under the black transsexual, right? In terms of
or
discrimination, just above.
They actually get a call back if they get mugged.
Maybe, I can't speak. Like I'm so not.
I know. See, that's the thing. Like, I've never met a cop.
I'm such a straight white woman that but.
And that's the thing. Like, I've hung out with transsexuals, I've hung out with gay people, I've been to plenty of events. I've never heard a story like that, but I've never asked either.
No, that's what I've been reading from.
And it's probably a story they
know.
probably tell like amongst themselves.
Yeah.
You know, like I've got stories I wouldn't tell anyone outside the army.
Oh yeah, I'm sure they have
not
a
everything
bunch
made
of
it
war
into the book.
stories. Yeah.
But this is where now I'm like, am I this naive to it as well?
But I guess my question too is like, okay, so if we separate the police from the queer blacks, are they getting used to each other? You know,
That's
like,
well. This
you
is
know?
the point. If you suddenly segregate the police away and just no, stay way over there, don't come near us.
That's right.
How do you get the relationship building that's required?
Yeah, because I know I have a family member who transitioned, and I know for me it was such an eye opener because you know you have your ideas of what it is to transition and what it means, and you're like, okay, well, you know, and even if you're not judgmental, like you don't know what it is, and when a family member transitions, you really realize how many layers of stuff is going on in these people's lives, right? So
Well, we
you
all
know,
have
so
layers in our
yeah, that's
life.
right. I know, but what I mean
But-
is maybe they just need to get to understand each other, right? But it's separating them, you know, saying, well, don't come near us. Will that help? I know for me, being near a trans person really helped me understand, right? So separating the police from the
Is
trans
this
people.
is this just a rabbit hole we'll never get to the end of?
I feel
Oh, I
just-
don't think
I'm
so.
I'm looking at my watch. It's 20 after 10, and I mean, you know, I want to wrap up in 10 minutes, but we've got another 4 hours of talking, and
Yeah.
and we haven't even brought a trans black person in yet.
Yes,
We gotta
for sure.
we gotta find someone willing to come on the podcast.
Absolutely. But yeah, like it
Like,
is
this
a bit
is
of
just-
a rabbit hole. But there was that police officer, the gay police officer,
Yeah.
who's had like a few.
Oh yeah, I
want
want to hang out with that dude.
Chuck Krangle,
Yeah.
right? And he had a statement that is we've been talking about it without saying it. I forget his exact words, but it was, you do not get inclusivity from being from being-
division.
Yeah, or it was exclusive doesn't lead to inclusive.
And
or
that's
something,
common
right?
sense.
And-
I think the
Yeah.
common sense, that's what it
But
dictates,
but
right?
now that we've talked about it in like the circles that we've been going around in, and I know if anyone was to pick a part out of this podcast and try and smear me with it, they probably could. But we're at the end now, and I'm realizing they probably never expected to achieve that goal in the first place. What they wanted was to get us, people like us, talking about what you just said. Like, is it actually still an issue to be a trans-colored, I don't know, like, does trans mean man to woman or woman
both,
to man? Both. Okay,
both.
so,
One gender to the other, like whichever.
but it normally means man to woman, right?
I think, from my understanding, there would be
The stereotypical
there seems to
media
be more
portrayal.
men transitioning to women than women
Right.
to men, but I could be like off the deep end.
Right,
on
right,
that.
right.
Don't
So,
quote
but
me.
the point is that, like you said, if you're a black, Asian, brown, whatever, just not, if you're transsexual,
Yeah,
and especially if you're a colored transsexual,
yeah,
forget about help from the police.
yeah.
If
that's-
anything, they'll call you up and make fun of you.
yes, or maybe they'll
is the message we might be getting.
Yeah, maybe you'll get beat up, right? Like, or if
By
you-
the cops?
I don't know, but that probably happened. I don't know if it still happens, but I'm sure that's part of their history. Yeah.
I'm actually getting nervous. I feel like nervous about where we could be going with this.
yeah, like it could be very big, huge, very big.
But it did get people talking.
Look at us.
Yeah, I know, right? So,
All right. Well, I prefaced it. I want to wrap it there because I'm a little bit mind blown, frankly, at just and I'm thinking my reaction may have been a little bit harsh
Right.
to the actual subject. I'll never agree with segregating the police. And I did react viscerally to that because to me, police, fire, and paramedics are protectors of our way of life in Canada.
yeah,
And
we
is it-
all need them.
Is it great for everyone in Canada? No. But the poorest person in Canada has usually a better life than like a rich person in a lot of other countries. Water out of a tap, for example. And then just You dial
Indoor
911
plumbing.
and they come. We had a 6-minute response time on Canada Day when someone got hit by a car on my street. 6 minutes,
That's fast.
right? As a municipal councillor now, like if I have people with that flag, the Ottawa flag next to the Canadian flag on their shoulder, they keep us from sliding backwards,
You bet.
in my opinion. Are they perfect? Of course not. Nobody's perfect. No organization is perfect. Are we all trying our best? I believe so. But so I want to, I don't know, back face. So there's preface, preface.
Right.
What's the other one?
Post face?
Postface, postface,
Yeah, I don't know.
preface, postface.
I think you may have made that up, but I think we get where you're going.
Check out the Urban Dictionary.
Conclusion.
We need a guy on a computer,
Yeah.
googling everything we say,
Absolutely.
like they do on the Joe Rogan
Yeah.
podcast.
Young Jamie, can you check that for me, please?
Actually, I think that would be you.
Oh, you're right.
That would fall on you.
That is me, actually. Yes.
But Jamie doesn't talk enough. So
no,
it couldn't
he
be you.
He
actually
doesn't talk very much. No.
For the Jody Mitic podcast, Luke Rowan actually speaks a lot.
Yeah, a little bit.
We might have to work on
Yeah.
that. Maybe your microphone will get fritzy next time.
Right.
Right? Yeah, yeah. I see
have
you messing with the
teenagers.
gear.
What does that mean?
Well, teenagers can Google.
Are you
They
trying
can-
to get me to give one of them a job?
Yeah.
I don't have any money to pay them.
They don't take money.
Really?
Yeah, no, you
Huh.
pay them in chips.
Okay. Well, anyway, my point is, I want to just wrap this up by saying again, I'm not for or against Black Lives Matter. I believe that they are a social activist group that is 100% trying to get a message across. Zero issue with that. Their tactics sometimes do annoy me. I am never going to support segregating the police away from cultural events. Whether or not there are issues with the police is something that needs to be discussed, which we tried tonight. Thank you for chiming in on it. Again, we're all middle-class white people, so maybe we weren't the right group to have this discussion.
no, but we
but-
are the right group to have this discussion, right?
Touche.
We, in theory, like the big idea here.
We're the
like,
ones they want talking
That's
about
right.
this.
So we're the people, quote unquote, oppressing. Not you and I, but as a class, right?
Well,
So-
okay, yeah, so let's, that's the end of that, but
Yeah. So they want
Next-
us to talk about this. Actually.
yeah, but I am getting a little tired of being blamed for a lot of stuff as a
Oh,
white male. I'll be
yeah,
honest.
no, of course. Yeah, yeah.
It's just
yeah.
again though, I think we're in a age right now where it's easy for everyone to say how offended they are about stuff.
There's lots of it.
Yeah, like I posted an article. I got to stop going to Huffington Post. It's become more of a, I don't even know what to call it, but this woman wrote she's Chinese Canadian and she hates it when people ask her where she's from
Right.
because they drill down to say, well, okay, you're from wherever she was from, but where are you really from? And I wrote, I'm a blue-eyed white boy, and I get asked the same question all the time because of my last name.
Right. Yep.
Or where are you from? Well, I grew up in Brampton. Oh, no, but where are you from? Like, do you speak Serbian or are you Croatian? It's Canada. We're all from somewhere.
That's right. That's right.
So I'm not sure what the big deal is, but they have a platform now and they want to say something.
Yep.
I don't know. I've never had an issue with it, but again, as a white male, I think I'm not allowed to have an opinion sometimes.
That's true.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being facetious, but
But like if you follow with that train of thought,
I'm just
that-
a conservative, white, straight cis.
that's right. There you go.
I'm going to get a T-shirt. that
Yeah,
says
I was going to
cis.
say you need a T-shirt.
Yeah.
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 But we're in a position to make the change. Like if you follow that train of thought that we're the oppressor, we're also the people in a position to make a difference, right? So
Yeah, I agree. I guess we're gonna stay on this topic in a roundabout way, but like, remember the last Oscars? Mm-hmm. And there was a couple of the black actors and directors were saying, what were they calling it?
Oscar
Whitewash?
so white.
Oh yeah. Yep.
It was the
Yeah, I think so.
hashtag Oscar so
Hashtag
white.
Oscars are white or what?
So white, yeah.
Yeah. One, you could argue she was mad that her husband didn't get nominated for an Academy Award. I think didn't Spike Lee win an Academy Award?
I'm not sure. I didn't watch it.
But anyway, I talked about this with a lot of people, and few people ever say it. It's said occasionally, but and you go, a lot of it's just demographic.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the States, 7 out of 10 Americans are still white. In Canada, I think it's still like 8 out of 10 Canadians are white.
Right.
Roughly. Like blacks in the States is only 14% of the population.
Really?
So, yeah, it's like, it's not. I mean, you'd think it'd be more. I think.
Yeah.
I was talking to a guy. He said, "Well, like 40% of the population in the States is black," and I was like, "I don't think so."
But there's a lot. There's a lot more of them in prison, like for their
No.
percentage. So.
That is undeniable, 100%. In Canada, it's Aboriginal. We have the same issue with the Aboriginals, and it's nobody should be able to deny it. Some people do, and they go, "Well, that's their fault." Very debatable. When you have an oppressed group that's oppressed for generations and then culturally destroyed through the residential school system, I think let's go ahead and say they have some excuse.
Right.
Whether or not it's their fault or our fault or whatever, it's 2016. It's time to figure it out, is how I see it, right? But yeah. So I was watching. You know, again, we're kind of talking in roundabout ways. But what you're saying is, as we're the oppressors, even if we aren't consciously doing it, I think part of it is that 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 of us are still white. So it's just economics, really, right? Eminem wasn't the biggest rapper because he's the best. He is one of the best, in my opinion, but I'm a white boy from the suburbs, so maybe I'm not allowed to comment.
Sure.
But if you're a white kid from the suburbs, or if you're a poor white kid in the States especially, who are you going to identify with, Wu-Tang Clan or Eminem? I can identify with both because I did not live either of their lives. I just think they're cool music.
Yeah.
But Eminem looks like me, sounds like me, and has the same story as me, so I'm going to buy his CD, and there's 7 of me for every one of them.
Of course.
So who's going to make more money?
Yeah.
Eminem or Wu-Tang Clan?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So same thing with Oscars. You know, only 14% of the population is black. How many actual black actors are there doing getting the roles? You know, what do they call that? The whitewashing of Hollywood, or the Hollywood whitewash? Which, you know what? It's kind of true. The Doctor Strange movie is coming out, and I was like, why is there a white lady playing a Buddhist? They got, what's her name? The British woman. She always plays like a real.
Meryl Streep.
No.
Something?
No, it's.
Ooh, is it Helen Mirren?
Is it Helen? Which one's Helen Mirren? No, it's an older. We'd have to look it up.
Yeah.
And we don't have a Jamie.
We
so
need the Google guy.
we need a Google guy. But the point is, in the comic book, it was a Tibetan monk. So why is it a white lady in the movie?
Right.
Why is she the one teaching ancient Buddhist tradition to the Doctor Strange? Or is it Doctor Strange?
I don't know. I don't know the movie you're talking about.
What's his name? Cumberpatch is in it.
Oh,
You know Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics.
no, I don't.
What?
Yeah,
He travels through dimensions?
Like-
I never read it as a kid. I was a Punisher guy. I read the Punisher.
I had a handful of comic books when I was a kid, but I wasn't
broken
deep
stick?
in, yeah,
and a slinky that was straighted.
yeah.
Were you allowed to dip your cookies in your milk, or
No, you keep that cookie out of that milk.
Oh
It'll
my
get
gosh.
soggy.
the house where fun was banned?
I had a sweet
Or did
rock,
you just
though.
weren't into
I had a
comic
sweet-
books?
Yeah, I just wasn't that into it.
Okay. I think we've talked enough about race relations in North America right now.
Probably. Hey, did you
Our
hear
listener-
a guy
like,
punched
what?
a bear in the face?
That was pretty dope.
Yeah.
Didn't you have a coach's corner, or do we have enough time?
Let's not do that. I think I have it, but let's just
You wanna
save it.
save it?
I don't think it fits into the flow of this.
I know. I'm kind of sad that we did this on a night that we're kind of rushed.
That's okay.
That's okay. So okay. Thanks, Veronique. Sorry. Thanks, Matt, for coming in, guys, and observing. You know, this podcast is pretty cool. It's like, again, it's my 4th attempt at a podcast. Our listenership is growing. We're at 7,500-ish downloads of the podcast so far. pretty sweet. It's pretty exciting. I'm actually nervous about what is going to come of this one.
Things could get wild
in the fan base. But I think it's an important discussion, and I think, like I said, it's 2016. I want to get away from the whole justification of one thing by pointing out another. I just want to like move on.
Yeah.
And just realize, like, get to the point where, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian.
Right. Yep.
That's what I'm hoping for. And but even within my community, the veterans community, we don't have that. Right? We don't have equality in a lot of places. For whatever reason, and it's, maybe it's just human nature. We're a tribal animal by instinct, and maybe that's just the way it is. And until we become the Borg, that's just the way it's going to be. But no matter what, on this podcast, we're trying to be the good guys.
Yeah,
we're trying to be on the right side of history. We want to be, we don't want to be. I just don't want to ever have anyone feel like I don't want them to do well.
Right.
100%. I'm for everybody doing well. There's plenty of pie to go around. I will never feel like I'm losing if you're winning. If anything, if you're winning, I feel like I'm winning.
Yeah.
And like I tell my kids, we're here to fight the bad guys because we're the good guys. So this is the Jody Mitic podcast signing off.